Hey guys, this is Collins Illich with Sawgrass Rods again. We're going to talk about our why we make, what we make, how we make it video today. I brought along a friend, Gilbert Miller with GTB Outdoors. You tell us a little bit about yourself, Gilbert.
I'm Gilbert.
More.
Avid tournament fisherman. I fished from FLW on the tour as a co-angler, all the way down to your local American bass anglers trails here in the DFW area. I'm now the high school fishing coach in Midlothian. We have about 52 anglers, and I'm a full-time guide here in the DFW area.
For what it's worth, he's a retired sergeant.
Retired Sergeant First Class with the Army, 21 years service.
Thank you for your service.
I appreciate it.
So what we're going to talk about today is our Swimbait rods. Aside from being retired sergeant, he's pretty modest. He cashes checks most of the tournaments he fishes, and I'm not the best bass fisherman you'll ever meet, but I've been fortunate enough to fish with most of the best bass fishermen in the world, and Gilbert is one of the most technically proficient bass fishermen I've ever fished with. So today we're going to talk about our Swimbait rods, Sawgrass Swimbait rods. We make two Swimbait rods, and one the BCS 1 series, and the other is the Sawgrass Boat Arc series. Both of them have the same action, meaning how the rod bends, right? And hey, Gilbert, will you hold that rod tip down for me? Let me show it here. All right, as you'll notice, what I want when I'm designing a Swimbait rod is I want that tip to be a little bit softer, and then I want it to progressively get stiffer as we go down the blank. So I want a soft enough tip to where you can make a cast, fight a fish, but stiff enough rod to where you can bring that fish to the boat. But from an angling perspective, tell me if I'm wrong, tell me if I'm right, tell me what you think.
You're spot on with the bend. Long rod, you got enough bend to really drive the hook home, set the hook, but then also it's giving as far as keeping the fish hooked up and not throwing the hook when you're casting at long distances. And
yeah, I really like how you said that, to drive that hook home, because you have to have enough leverage. Yep. I mean, these are 70-yard, 80-yard casts. You have to have significant leverage to get that hook in there if that fish eats far out away from you.
And castability. Nowadays
absolutely.
We're throwing baits up to 8 ounces almost. So you don't have to really whip it. The rod loads up nicely, and it's just a nice long cast.
Awesome.
Gives you a nice long cast.
So we've got a rod that's a little bit softer in the tip, getting stiffer. And we've got an 8-foot long rod. For me, there's two major advantages in that 8-foot rod. Yep. The leverage that we talked about earlier. Yeah. And then also, I'm a big fan. I really like fishing the longest rod I can get away with because of the pressure that our fish are under right now.
Yes.
I think the farther you are away from your boat with your cast, the more fish you will catch.
Yep, that is true.
Perfect. Well, so we've got an 8-foot rod that bends from going from a soft tip to stiffening throughout in two primary rod families. The BCS 1, which is finished out with this is a 14.5-inch grip length with EVA. That gives you the ability to cradle it.
Yeah.
It takes some of the fatigue out of it and gives you the ability to make the longer cast with using it as leverage. Going up to a C guide that's a stainless steel frame, SIC, and we go 12, 10, 8, 6, all the way to the tip top, which is a size 10. That allows, so you fish pure fluoro.
Yes. Yeah.
And I prefer braid to a fluoro leader. So this is more important for me, but that guide train size allows me to bring a leader knot in and out, whether it's through the cast or whether I'm fighting a fish. Again, same guide train, but very different build out on the Boat Arc. Boat Arc is premium cork. It's beautiful, comfortable, really, really nice to fish, really nice to hold. Also really expensive. To a North Fork composite blank on both of them. To a REC train of guides, which is REC recoil. Most people are familiar with the traditional recoil guide, which, as you know, just kind of looks like a bent metal, but what it is it's bent titanium that is crush proof.
Yes.
What we actually do is we use their most expensive guides for the first two, which are their Cerakoils. So it actually has a liner in it, and that liner in those first two guides help get you that forward trajectory. So it actually gives you probably 5 to 10% more distance on your cast. But it still has the benefit of a recoil. You can't pop the liner out. And from an angling perspective, I mean, I think that's absolutely critical, right?
It is critical. For one, it saves you a lot of money. Guiding here, you get a lot of customers just stepping all over the deck everywhere, and you hate to go pick up a rod and you got this eye smashed all the way down to the blank, and then you're like, oh man, you know. So, but with the recoils, I don't have to worry about that. Especially it's an investment. You're spending the money. You want quality products.
Awesome. Well, that about covers why we make our swim bait rods the way we make our swim bait rods. You know what else? Let's touch on this real quickly, because everyone knows swim baits. They've been throwing swim baits since Castaic became so popular in like 95, 94.
Yep.
But you know what the craze is right now?
Yes. Glide baits.
Tell me about a swim bait rod for throwing glide baits.
Good thing about the swim bait rod, I don't have to have a special rod for a glide bait. The length, I'm able to cast this thing a country mile, as you would say. The bend is giving where when I really drive the hook home, I'm not pulling the bait away from the fish. And also with glide baits, you're working with treble hooks. So sometimes you get the fish they'll really engulf it. Most times you get a fish that they end up just getting hooked on that back treble with one hook. So you really need the bend.
So that softer tip helps you stay buttoned.
Yep.
I'd also like the softer tip is going to help because those treble hooks are typically lighter wire. Right. You could, if you fish too stiff a rod, whether it's blade or fluorocarbon, you can straighten that hook out.
You can straighten out a hook real quick. And then you just see that saying bye and they're gone.
All right, so I think Gilbert's going to come back and do this again with me next week.
Yep, sounds good.
Since you're in charge, what should we talk about next week?
Since we're hitting the summer months, let's talk about drop shots.
Okay, that's
and
great.
The drop shot rod.
Well, we'll go over why we make our drop shot rods and how we make our drop shot rods next week.
Sounds good. Thanks
a lot, guys. Visit sawgrassfishingrods.com.